What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with some Destiny 2 updates and news, with a handful of updates from Bungie ahead of the weekly reset this week on the 26th of August. So today we are getting another game update that will make some adjustments to the portal, and specifically timers for some of the activities. There are probably some additional things we don't yet know about in that patch, but we'll round up the stuff we are aware of, and Bungie continue to acknowledge some feedback that we're given. They've also suggested they'll be making an adjustment to the Prime Engram change that they've got coming in Ash and Iron. We'll speak about Guardian ranks, which are affected by the famine modifier this week. That should be changing after the reset, as well as some other bugs and content things to be aware of. So if you guys find this video helpful, do us a massive favor and hit subscribe. That way I can keep you posted with everything related to the game. But now let's get into it. Initially, a heads up regarding seasonal challenges. At the moment, Bungie say the current list of seasonal challenges will reset when Ash and Iron arrives on September 9th, so this is a general call for everyone aiming to earn some extra bright dust and XP to complete them soon. They also highlight that the recent update reduced the requirement for the top challenger triumph from the previous 102 down to the actual 42 that are needed. But for any folks who've been holding on to those challenges for Ash and Iron, we don't have absolute confirmation, but Bungie's wording is that the seasonal challenges will reset, so it could be that if you hold on to them, they might actually disappear. That's my best guess based on what Bungie have said, so basically if you want to get them done, do them now, or there is that possibility that they will be lost. For this week though, we are getting another game update. Possibly we'll have a couple of updates before we even get to Ash and Iron, but this week's is 9008, so there will be some downtime ahead of the reset, beginning at 8:35 AM PDT, which is about an hour and a half before weekly reset actually drops, so just keep in mind servers will be down during that period. And then, all being well, the update will be available at 10 AM PDT, which is weekly reset time, and we should be able to log back into Destiny 2. In terms of the changes that we'll see in this patch, the only thing which is absolutely confirmed, but Bungie have said, we're increasing the time limits in Fireteam Ops direct launch matchmaking tiers, giving players significantly more time to complete challenging match-made Grandmasters. This should help players reach A grades more consistently, which of course results in better rewards. At the moment, there are a handful of those Fireteam Ops which have very short timers, despite the fact that we have to spend a lot of time doing things like capturing plates, so they're very unforgiving, and that's on top of the fact that when those timers run out, revives can no longer be earned, so it's making the match-made experience a lot rougher than it really should be, and this is just one of the ways that Bungie will hopefully make an improvement to that. In terms of other changes today though, I don't believe anything else is specifically confirmed. In terms of time limit adjustments in the future, Bungie have said in Ash and Iron, many activities will come down to a reasonable level, and they reference things like the 35-minute Starcross timer and the 8-minute Caldera timer, which they're essentially saying they're going to nerf at the moment. But other things will increase like Liminality, Inverted Spire, and Onslaught. Plus in the future, the bonus timer will award a minimum of 5% score bonus for coming in under the time. So in terms of activity timers, generally they should get better, but of course there will also be the nerfs to some of the more solo ops focused things. And I think most of us are in agreement that it would be better for Bungie to generally buff other activities as opposed to nerfing the faster ones. And given the amount of feedback there has been since that last TWID, I'm very curious to see what Bungie have to say in the next few days, whether it's in the TWID or additional communications. I'd say if we get round to this TWID and Bungie don't really acknowledge what the community have been saying, then it strikes me that they do not plan to acknowledge it. So this will be an important week, and hopefully Bungie can get it right, especially given that we have a launch reveal for Renegades in just a couple of weeks' time ahead of Ash and Iron. My general feedback to Bungie would be, it's better if community sentiment isn't in the gutters as you try and hype us up for whatever comes next, but that's up to Bungie. On that subject, they did say as we continue to process feedback from the most recent TWID, we have a change regarding our plans for Prime Engrams to announce today, so they'll be reverting the previously announced change for Ash and Iron that would require players to decrypt Prime Engrams in the tower. There was some feedback that it's going to be a bit of a pain actually having to go back to the tower to decrypt them. At the current drop rate, I don't think it would actually be the end of the world, because it's not like you're getting them every 20 minutes. But either way, Bungie won't be doing it anymore, and they say they believe there is still work to be done in highlighting these drops so players can understand and celebrate when getting rare higher tier or powerful drops, and we'll share more details when our plans are solidified. So that's the change. Interesting that this is the piece of feedback they responded to quickest, but as always, you'll just have to give me your thoughts down below. Another thing that'll be fixed in Ash and Iron though, is the Duality Dungeon, where on Master difficulty, players can't start the first encounter due to a glitch that instantly wipes the team. So a small fix right there for some of the older content, which of course is not especially relevant right now in terms of rewards, but at least will be fixed. Moving into content this week though, it'll be interesting to see if there are any other kind of portal bonuses. Over the last week we had the Special Surge modifier, And because that was active, Bungie actually disabled the option for famine modifiers, and that locked players at Guardian rank 7 without being able to progress to rank 8 in that week, which is certainly a big oversight from Bungie. Bungie say the special surge event blocking progression for Guardian ranks wasn't intended. We flagged this with designers and have confirmed that this is an unintended consequence of the famine modifier not being able to be applied to the same activity as a surge modifier. Due to the setup of the event, we were unable to change that modifier. However, we are actively investigating if making this change in future or similar iterations of the event will be possible, or if not, then we'll pursue other mitigations to ensure that player progression is not blocked in the future. So they're aware of it. They're saying basically this issue will not occur again, or that's certainly the goal. Hopefully that'll be the case. But if you have been blocked by that, after reset, assuming Bungie don't introduce something else funky, hopefully you'll be able to get to Guardian rank 8. And given the sort of progression lockouts with the rewards that actually impacts in the game at the minute, I totally get that that's really frustrating. So look forward to being able to make progress after weekly reset. Otherwise, a couple of final things. DMG acknowledged that Bungie had missed patch notes and folks are going deep throughout the sandbox with all of the changes. And he appreciates players who are jumping back through to ensure that findings are factual when it comes to identifying bugs. And as we know, there'll be plenty of updates in the next couple of weeks. Bungie forum mentors also pointed out for players who have not had exotics added to collections from the Edge of Fate campaign, there is a bug where playing the invitation mission on Legendary will also mark the commencement mission off on the Legendary Triumph, and that can cause players essentially to believe that they've completed the Legendary campaign when they actually haven't. So essentially the tip is to ensure that all individual missions are actually ticked off on the quest in order to earn the exotics. There's also a lot of questions about whether some of the older dungeon content, and indeed raid content as well, is actually farmable. This relates to the exotics, so things like Icebreaker from Vesper's Host. I would say for the moment, it's starting to look like they are not farmable. All we really have is player data because Bungie haven't actually confirmed. Interestingly, Bungie marked a response to this post as the official answer to the question. And the answer is that at the moment, there's no confirmation from Bungie as to whether they're farmable or not. They do confirm legendary gear is farmable from older activities, but the assumption is that exotics are 3 chances a week. It's so bizarre that Bungie marks that as the official answer to the question, without actually answering the question. So the answer is, we don't know. Dude, Bungie's communications are bonkers. But yeah, I wouldn't sit there farming dungeons or raids specifically for exotics. I would assume 1 chance per week per character, as otherwise you're probably wasting your time at the moment. If I do get any other specifics though, I'll keep you posted. So for today, guys, that's what we have to round up. It may be a slightly quieter week in the game outside of the patch. Next week, we will get Heavy Metal, which has a couple of weapons as we've spoken about. So I'll link a video down below breaking down what those weapons will be if you fancy trying to pick them up when the event returns. And of course, the week after that, we get to Ash and Iron. So Bungie have got their work cut out for them in the next fortnight, and I will keep you posted on all of their updates as always. So hit subscribe and the notification bell. That way you won't miss out on any content. If you've enjoyed the video today, a rating really does help me out. And let us know down below if you'll be jumping back into the game for this week. Otherwise though, thanks for tuning in, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.